Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Tales of Olympus. And again, sorry for the late update because, I've been really busy. I've been visiting a relative that's going to college, and that college is for the army. So, yeah, it's probably the last time or the last few times I'll see her, but, anyways, welcome back. Legends and listeners to Tales of Olympus. I'm your host, Ariel, and today we're diving into the glowing heart of Greek mythology, right into the life and love stories of the golden god of the sun, Apollo. Yay! He was the god of the sun, music, poetry, prophecy, and archery. Talented, powerful, and dazzling in every way. But when it came to love, well, things didn't always go so smoothly. So today we begin a new series. No, we begin a new story. Apollo's Many Loves. And our first tales are perhaps the most famous, and the most heartbreaking. Daphne and Hyacinthus. Let's start with Daphne. But of course, before we start, we must do a little ad over here. So I just posted a Reddit post that is a Would You Rather poll, and our first Demigod Dare. It's called the Demigod Dare series. They're live. Would you rather fight a Hydra with a broken sword or escape Medusa blindfolded? Go vote and comment. Well, yeah, that's it. Okay, let's come back to the story again. So, where was I? Yes, Daphne. Apollo, the Shining One. He was the favorite of Olympus. He was admired by gods and mortals alike. Wherever he went, music followed. His lyre echoed through valleys and mountain tops. But Apollo had a flaw, like many gods did, and his was pride. One day after defeating the serpent Python at Delphi, Python was a monstrous guardian of an ancient oracle. Apollo strutted about, filled with glory and self-love. The battle had been fierce, but Apollo's arrows had been true. With Python gone, he claimed the oracle of Delphi as his own, becoming the god of prophecy. To him, that victory meant something more, that he was the best archer in the world. So when he saw Eros, the young god of love, playing with his tiny bow, Apollo mocked him. "What are you doing with a weapon, little love child?" Apollo sneered. "Leave archery to warriors like me. Stick a lighting fires on hearts, not aiming arrows." Well, that was a mistake. Eros, though small, was powerful. He was not a child playing with toys. He was a god who could bend fate. And Apollo left. Well, he was still in his glory after defeating Python. So, after he left, in silence, Eros raised his bow. He released a golden arrow, and whoever it struck would fall into deep, irresistible love. And it struck Apollo straight in the heart. Instantly, the god of light was consumed by love, blazing, passionate, and all-consuming. Then Eros released the lead arrow. Whoever it struck would feel disgust and loathing for love. And it somehow struck Daphne. Daphne was a naiad, a river nymph, wild, free, untamed like the forest she roamed. She was beautiful, yes, but that beauty was not meant for love. She had sworn never to marry, never to fall in love, and she kept her promises fiercely. When Apollo saw her for the first time, he froze. He fell in love immediately. But Daphne only saw danger. Her heart, poisoned by Eros's arrow, was filled by revulsion. She ran through the woods, across rivers, over hills, Daphne fled, Apollo behind her. He wasn't trying to harm her, only to hold her, to convince her he meant well. But to her, he was a threat she couldn't escape. Apollo called out, "Please, don't run. I'm not your enemy. I love you. I'll protect you. Let me love you." But she didn't slow down. She never slowed down, to be honest. Finally, when her strength was fading, she cried out to her father, the river god Peneus. "Father, help me. Change me. Destroy this beauty that draws him in. Anything. Just save me." Peneus heard. At once, her body... No, not at once. Well, just when Apollo was about to catch her, her body began to shift. Her skin hardened into bark. Her long legs rooted in onto the earth. Her arms stretched into branches, and her fingers sprouted leaves. Her flowing hair became a crown of greenery. Her breath slowed, and her eyes closed. Okay, that was not me yawning. I was, just making it more dramatic. So, anyways, she had become the first laurel tree in the world. Apollo stumbled forward and caught her just as the last of his transformation ended. He pressed his hand to the bark. His tears fell on her new leaves. "You may not be mine," he whispered, "but you will still be loved." He declared the laurel tree sacred. Its leaves would be worn by poets, heroes, and kings. He made wreaths from her branches and promised that she would live forever in victory and song. From that day on, Apollo wore a crown of laurel, not as a trophy, but as a memory. But not all of Apollo's love stories was about rejection. Some were about loss. Among the mortals there lived a young youth named Hyacinthus, a prince of Sparta. He was strong, graceful, and breathtakingly beautiful. His skin glowed like polished marble. His hair curled like ivy or ivy. Ivy, well, I think it's ivy. In the sun, and his laughter, Apollo once said, was sweeter than the music of his golden lyre. And Apollo fell deeply in love again. But this time, the love was returned. Unlike Daphne, Hyacinthus loved Apollo too. The two were inseparable. They ran through meadows together, sang songs beneath the stars, and played games on open fields. Apollo taught Hyacinthus how to play the lyre, how to shoot a bow, and even how to read the stars. It was one of the rare moments in the myths where a god's love seemed happy. But happiness in the world of gods rarely lasts. One sunny afternoon, Apollo and Hyacinthus were playing discus, a game like throwing a giant stone frisbee. Apollo, of course, was stronger and threw his discus far into the sky. Hyacinthus laughed and ran to catch it. But just as the discus came spinning down, something went wrong. The discus curved violently in the air, striking Hyacinthus straight in the head. Blood splattered onto the grass. The laughter stopped. Apollo rushed to him, cradling him in his arms. The sun dimmed. The winds froze. Even nature held its breath. No, Apollo whispered, trying to heal him. "You'll be fine. I can fix this. I'm a god. I can." But he couldn't. Hyacinthus died in his arms. Some myths say it was an accident. Others say it wasn't. In another version of the story, the west wind, Zephyrus, had also loved Hyacinthus. But Hyacinthus had chosen Apollo, not him. In a jealous rage, Zephyrus redirected Apollo's discus in midair, killing the boy he claimed to love. Either way, Hyacinthus was gone. Apollo was inconsolable. For days he wept. He cursed fate. He wanted to descend into the underworld to bring him back. But even a god couldn't undo death. So instead, from Hyacinthus' blood, Apollo created a flower, a deep purple bloom where, well, wait a minute, with, with petals shaped like a teardrops. He named it a hyacinth, and that's where the flower today came from. Yay! And on its petals, the Greeks claimed you could see the letters A and I, the Greek cry of sorrow. Well, not AI, not like ChatGPT. The words A and I. Well, to this day, the hyacinth flower is sacred to Apollo, a symbol of grief and eternal love. After Daphne and Hyacinthus, Apollo's heart did not stop searching. And because he was a god of light, so he thinks light longs to be seen, to be loved. But like the sun itself, Apollo's love was often too bright, too intense, and sometimes too dangerous. Let's look at a few more of his well-known and often tragic romances. Well, there was Coronis. Coronis was a mortal princess from Thessaly. Apollo fell deeply for her, and it seemed things might go well. Coronis was pregnant, and the child she carried would become someone legendary, Asclepius, the future god of healing. But while Coronis carried Apollo's child, she fell in love with another man, a mortal named Ischys. Apollo found out, and in a fit of rage, Apollo found out through his sacred white raven. So in a fit of rage, he cursed the raven, turning its feathers from white to black. Then, some say he struck down Coronis himself with his arrow. Some others say he begged Artemis to do it, unable to kill the woman he once loved. Either way, Coronis died. But as her body burned on the funeral pyre, Apollo couldn't let go. At the last second, he reached into the flames and rescued the unborn baby, his son. That baby was Asclepius, and later on, he was raised by the centaur Chiron and destined to master the art of healing, even learning to bring people back from the dead. But even that will cause trouble later. But that's a story for another day. And then there was Cassandra. So we come to the one of the saddest tales of all. Cassandra was a Trojan princess, wise, sharp, and proud. Apollo fell in love with her too and offered her a gift, the power of prophecy. She accepted the gift, but rejected him as a lover. Apollo, furious at the rejection, but he couldn't take it back, so he cursed it instead. Cassandra could still see the future, but no one would believe her prophecies. She saw the fall of Troy before it happened. She saw the wooden horse filled with Greek soldiers. She screamed, she warned, she begged, but they called her mad, ignored her, laughed at her. But everything she foresaw came true. So that's it for today's episode. So, what do we make about Apollo's many loves? These weren't just old myths carved into stone or painted on pottery. These were stories about desire, loss, mistakes, and lying, and things we still understand today. Thank you for joining me today on Tales of Olympus. Whether you see Apollo as a golden hearted romantic or a flawed mortal learning how to love, one thing is still clear: his stories still shine. Next time, we'll explore another myth from the gods, one that may surprise you. And until then, I'm Ariel, and this is Tales of Olympus, where the past is never gone, but just waiting to be told again. My name is Ariel, I'm 10 years old, and I will see you next episode.